Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description.
It is game on out there, and the dips don't last very long, and that's kind of typical of a VIX sort of 12-13 environment. I tweeted this out today. I said, you know those dips that you get where the stock starts to come down and you go, oh my goodness, if this has a little bit of follow through, I'm going to get a chance to buy my favorite stock at a reasonably good price, and it turns right back around and goes right back up again, and you get that kind of sinking feeling that, oh, there is another opportunity missed. And that is very, very typical of this sort of 12-13 environment. So what I try to help clients and students with is to kind of reframe how they look at things. When you get, we had sort of, it wasn't a super volatile environment going into the election. It was more like a high VIX environment with not a whole lot going on. But now you have a combination of stocks pushing higher with very low levels of volatility. So that takes a little bit of a different approach. You have to be a little bit more careful. The premiums get a little bit thinner, a little leaner around the market.
Yeah, just as an example of that, oh goodness, late September, mid-October, I can't remember. No, beginning of October, we did a webinar on that NVIDIA financed call spread, right? And at the time, it was 136. It was not 136, but it was like 130, 132, whatever. And the point was, we just hit 132, 136 last week. That 115 put was $8. It's now $2. So the IV crush has really come out of these instruments, and it's a little bit more challenging to kind of get a good structure like that, because post-election, post-earnings, it's almost worthy of swinging for the fences, which I hate doing, but to buy that right tail risk of higher calls. So let's dig into that. Keep going. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's a big trade. You're right. That trade is still very valid. And some of the big vol watchers have talked about how that right tail continues to be relatively cheap. Now, I'm a little surprised at the strength we saw today. We've kind of pushed, I've been calling for this move towards that collar, that sort of 60-50, 60-55 level, which seemed like this massive magnet. We went through that in September, end of September, where we stuck around that 57-50 level, and it really kind of put the clamp on markets, right? When we talk about positive gamma, that just means there's a lot of stock on either side, and eventually it keeps trading till that range just gets so narrow that it feels like nothing's happening. And so I kind of thought we'd sort of push up into this level and maybe have a little bit of resistance, but boy, after a little pullback earlier in the day, we just pushed really to the highs of the day. So what that starts to do for me, this isn't my base case, but what it starts to do is potentially have us start to look at 61.25, 61 to 61.25 as an area where there isn't that much gamma anymore. And when there's no gamma, and in fact, potentially negative gamma, what that means to the viewers is that you could end up with almost a bit of an air pocket. So this isn't my sort of base case, because I think we saw one of the lowest volumes, I think, yesterday in years. It was crazy though. 5 years. I mean, so maybe we can chalk it up to, okay, everybody's gone home, and so there's a little bit of that low liquidity sort of drift up happening, but that almost makes it more amazing, because there's very heavy stock for sale in theory right around here, and a low volume rally like this almost shouldn't have the success it's having, but it is. So there's this incredible underlying strength. And I dare to say that if we kind of get to that 61.25, 61.50 level, we could have a kind of a melt up. I call it sort of the kind of melt up that would even make Tom Lee blush. Like a real kind of like, whoa, what is happening here? We are just literally the market has gone parabolic.
Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Watch the full Options Macro to Micro Power Hour episode by clicking on the video here, and subscribe to LaDucTrading YouTube channel for more content.